Hi, we're here at Pickney Hall, and it's the Hampton Village annual meeting, and they have a guest speaker, and it's Tony Mills. And Tony is the son of Tom Mills and Kay Mills. So Tony, you're a naturalist.
I sure am.
Yeah, and you work for the Spring Island Trust.
Spring Island Trust.
Yeah.
So I work out on Spring Island.
Yeah, and you have shows on PBS and SCETV.
Yeah, it's the same show, but we do
educational.
Right.
Yes.
We do a show called Coastal Kingdom, and the whole idea is just to show people the animals that live around here and just to help people to appreciate what they have so they do the best job taking care of it.
Right, and I'm going to give a link, so if you want to watch any of the shows, which I've been perusing these shows, they're really well done.
Yeah, they
the
are.
The photography is amazing.
I work with a guy named Rob Lewis, who is with SCETV, and he's fabulous.
Yeah,
he's a great storyteller and filmmaker.
And it's great for the grandchildren, and any questions you have about bugs, reptiles, that really all your questions are answered.
For sure.
And you have something.
I do. You realize what you're sitting next to.
I am a little bit
let's
afraid.
Start with this one. You can tell it already is.
Oh my goodness.
And this is, I'm impressed at how comfortable you are sitting here with this.
I don't know how comfortable
So this
I'm
is an animal called a king snake, and hopefully it'll come right out of the bag for us.
Oh my goodness. I'll be
Here
okay.
It comes. So this is called a king snake.
Oh, wow.
And king snakes
beautiful.
get their name because they eat other snakes. In fact, I'm going to pull this bag off of it. You want to hold one end of it?
Yeah, sure.
So this is a snake that, first of all, it's non-venomous.
Yeah.
It's completely harmless, so it's not going to hurt us. But it eats other snakes, including copperheads, rattlesnakes, venomous species. So, and it's not that it does just that. I mean, they eat just about anything they run across, small animals, even turtle eggs sometimes, but they're beneficial. And most of our snakes are really important. So if you see a snake in Sun City, and I've seen a few, visiting my parents and stuff, most of those are non-venomous. The one big exception would be a copperhead.
Right.
And that is relatively common, right? But many snakes are like this king snake, completely harmless. I noticed this one is kind of using its tongue to taste me a little bit, and I've been handling other snakes today.
Oh, so he must be aware,
I have to be a little bit careful.
Look at him, he's just cozy.
Aren't they cool?
Yeah,
they're powerful constrictors. You can see it's really kind of squeezing your hand, and that's how they would kill another snake or rat or a mouse or something like that.
Right. Oh, and what else do we have?
Oh, and we also have, if you hold that bag open for me. So put the king snake in, one animal out at a time is generally a pretty good rule.
And they're okay.
This is a great way to carry reptiles. Sure. And of course, I'm going to use these for my presentation tonight.
Oh, good.
And the next thing is an even bigger treat. You're going to love these. And this is, this is a common animal in Sun City. And they are baby alligators.
Babies. Look at them.
And you can see, and this one has its mouth open, and they will bite. I mean, if you stick your hand in their mouth, but you can hold them. I just hold them away. The only thing he may do is pee on you. So hold
that's
them.
Okay.
But you see, these are little tykes, and they're last year's babies. So they grow about 6 inches a year. Alligators grow fairly slowly, and it may take them 20 years or more to reach adult size.
Yeah.
So
right. He's getting restless, so
the one thing about baby alligators is mom's very protective of them.
Right.
So if you see babies, you want to stay away from them.
Stay away.
They vocalize, they make kind of a chirping noise, and mom may be close by. So you don't, the way to deal with alligators, don't feed them. You know, if you're fishing somewhere and an alligator comes up to you, just go someplace else. There's a lot of ponds in Sun City to go fish someplace else. It's inconvenient, but that's the best bet. Also, as I was saying, if you see babies, just move away from them. Because there may be a mom that's very protective of her youngsters.
So these are wonderful. So there's a lot to see. I'm looking forward to your presentation. And I'll also put the link on for your channels onto it.
Yeah, it's called Coastal Kingdom. And we love making it. Believe me, nobody's getting rich doing it. But it's really a wonderful program, and we love making it.
And it's well done. It's very well done.
I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Hi, I'm Tom Mills, and this is my wife, Kay Mills, and we're the parents of Tony Mills, who is the speaker at the Hampton Circle annual meeting this year. We've been basically kind of a scientifically oriented family all our life. I was a biologist in my other life, and we have 2 sons, and they were both spent an awful lot of time outside when they were little kids. We lived in Augusta at the time, and they were outside all the time. They disappear in the morning and reappear at dinner time, not uncommonly carrying some animal, occasionally a snake or a lizard or something. They brought stuff home all the time. Now and then we would get up on Saturday morning and have to go find Tony and say, "What did you bring home last night?" Because there's a garbage can out in the garage with a brick on top of it. So heaven knows what's in there.
We lived in Miami for 3 years, and we had an iguana, an octopus, all kinds of animals, snakes, lizards, pretty much everything.
I was allergic to a lot of mammals, so we had reptilian pets instead. So Tony's been doing this absolutely all his life. He worked for several years at the Savannah River Ecology Lab in the Aiken area. University of Georgia related, and he got the job. Well, actually, Kay took him to a
library program where the director of the ecology lab at the Savannah River plant, he was giving the lecture, and Tony got to know him and ended up being one of his members of his staff.
And he was there 25 years. Or maybe 20 years there, and just did the thing that he has loved all his life. He actually got paid for it. It was his job. He probably would have been doing it whether he got paid or not, because that's his thing.
He was able to do some research, and also he taught school children. So he did some programs for them. Yeah.
And he is married to Catherine Madden, who is just got her doctorate and is teaching at over at USCB. So it's kind of a whole big family thing.
Hi, I'm Kate Mace, and I'm Tony Mills' aunt. Tony is in everyday life exactly what you see on television. He's been a naturalist his whole life. He has always brought snakes home. He's always, like, I have been with him on a bike ride. When he was riding along, saw a snake and the bike crashed as he leapt off to catch the snake. He is full of energy and enthusiasm, very knowledgeable, and he's a guy you would love.
My name's Tony Mills, and I'm happy to be here today. And so I know Sun City really well because my parents live here and my aunt and uncle, Kate and Stu, and then Tom and Kay Mills. So I've spent a lot of time in Sun City. But I'm going to talk about something tonight, probably one of the really special places on earth. And that's the Port Royal Sound watershed. And we're right in the middle of it. And, you know, different people look at things as special for different reasons. Some people think in terms of just aesthetics. It's a beautiful place to live, right? It is gorgeous around here. I mean, the marshes and things like that. So some people think it's all about just how it looks. Some people think it's sort of cultural history and, things like that. And obviously it's rich in history and things like that. The other thing is high biodiversity. Now that's where I get excited because I'm interested in different types of living things. I'm an animal guy. So I spent an awful lot of time learning about animals. And so what we're going to talk about today is some of the animals that live in this area. A lot of this stuff may live in your backyard. If it doesn't, it may live in some of the more natural areas around you. Living in our coastal kingdom, and that ties into the TV show that we do called Coastal Kingdom. I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But this is a special place, and there's a key here. This is why it's special. Anybody know what that is? Spartina grass. And actually, the recent taxonomic changes have turned this into Sporobolus, that means somebody decided that this is not Spartina, it's Sporobolus. But can we just go with Spartina? Are you guys okay with that? It is amazing stuff. And this is the secret to the entire Atlantic food chain. Every year we get a beautiful crop of this stuff. It comes up and it creates all this productivity. It's a place for animals to hide. It's nourishment. It's what powers the entire Atlantic food chain. And things like this animal right here are a good example. I mean, I get so psyched when I see these things, I can't believe it. Anybody have well, it's called a snapping shrimp. Anybody heard of these? Okay, a lot of times I'll watch Animal Planet and I'll see these stories about just amazing animals in other parts of the world. Here's an animal that lives right here. I mean, it's going to be in the salt marsh. And see this ridiculously large claw? It looks like a boxing glove or something. What it can do is ratchet that claw open and then it pops it. And it pops it with so much force, it creates heat, light, and sound. 8,500 degrees Fahrenheit. So what it does is create cavitation bubbles. And those cavitation bubbles, they create, with the force, they create these cavitation bubbles that instantly implode, creating friction. And they use this not only to subdue small animals that they feed on, little crabs and things, but they also communicate with them. Now, when I was filming Coastal Kingdom, I did a segment on these, and I noticed I always found two together, a male and a female. Well, it turns out they form monogamous pairs. These little shrimp, this big, form these monogamous pairs that stay together for 10 years or so. I mean, people I just don't think any of us realize just what's going on out there, right? And a lot of people, I understand, don't care. But to me, it's pretty incredible these things, first of all, live 10 years, and they form monogamous pairs. They communicate with each other using this claw snapping. They can actually snap smaller animals so that they can catch them and eat them. And again, they live right here. Okay, what about fiddler crabs? You guys like fiddler crabs? Okay, here's about as big a fiddler crab as I could find today, because I knew there'd be lots of people here. Sorry, I'm dripping water a little bit. Okay, what's special about fiddler crab? First of all, male or female? Male. How do you know it's a male? He has one big claw. Now, if you're a male fiddler crab, you use the small claw for feeding, you eat pluff mud, so you glean diatoms and stuff like that out of the pluff mud, and then you use that big claw to attract mates. So you wave your claw enticingly, and that's how you attract. We have 3 different kinds of fiddler crabs here. This is one called Yucca minax, and we have Yucca pugulator and Yucca pugnax. And I know, who cares, right? But to me, it's pretty amazing. We have 3 different species. And believe me, if you're waving your claw, if you're a minax like this one, you know the difference between this crab and another one, for sure. So anyway, these are really beneficial. They feed on pluff mud, they turn the marsh over, they provide all kinds of food for other animals, and amazingly abundant. You can get 1 million fiddler crabs per acre of marsh. This is a diamondback terrapin. And here's one right here, and I'm going to hold it over the water so you can see it. Look at that beautiful turtle. Now, my favorite terrapin story is in 1985, as part of a study on Kiowa Island, I caught a terrapin. BKWX was its name. Because what we do is we drill holes in the outside edge of the shell, and these scoots represent a letter of the alphabet. So we give it a code so we know who it is, and then we let it go again. So I caught BKWX, and I let her go. And after marking her, and that animal was just caught about 3 years ago in the same spot. Think about that. This is a species, terrapins we know can live for 50, 60, 70 years. Okay, let's talk sharks. Okay, I actually brought, again, I didn't bring a live shark, I'm sorry. But, so this is Mom with a bonnet head shark. And it is, yeah. And I brought that picture just to make a point. Now, we do have some big sharks around. We have tigers, we have bulls, we have occasionally some great hammerheads. But mostly what we have is little species like that bonnet head that she's holding. And then things like this Atlantic sharpnose, which is painted wrong. The fins are wrong on it. But so we have a lot of small shark species. Sharks are really, really important. They're beneficial. What happens to, food chains if sharks disappear? They collapse. So it's really important to have those top end predators. If you don't have the top end predators, things just don't work very well. So, okay, let's talk toads. One of my favorite animals. And here is a little southern toad. This is one, every single one of you guys have some toads around in your yard. And we have tree frogs. We have lots of neurons, frogs and toads. But this is one that is really, really good natural pest control. If you have a toad that lives on your patio, it's doing good things. It's catching things like beetles, cockroaches, and stuff like that. Toads may live, for 20 years or more. Now, anybody realize that toads are poisonous? Actually, I got another great fact for you. You know it's illegal to lick a toad in the state of South Carolina? That was passed in Columbia. and I'm just sure we all rest better at night knowing that that's true. This is a male. I can tell it was kind of making. It's trilling a little bit, but I can tell because it has a throat sac right here. And male frogs and toads will call mates. And generally, males vocalize, females do not. So anyway, just don't take stuff like this for granted, because things like toads are important, and plus they're cute, right? This one is kind of making, I don't know if you can barely hear that. Anyway, southern toad, and really it's the most common one we have. What a spectacular lizard, right? Look at that green. That's one of the prettiest lizards in the world, and very common here. And here's one right here. This is a big male. I can tell it's a male because it has a dewlap. It has a throat sac right there, and you can see that. And so if you see one of these things, a male, and another male shows up in its territory, boy, things are going to get real rowdy real quick. So males are very territorial. They typically will have about 8 females in their harem. And if another male shows up, they're going to defend that harem, and they're going to defend their territory. They do push-ups. They get this Godzilla-like crest that sticks up in the back of their head. They get dark under the eyes, and they will fight. Again, completely harmless to people, but it's just fun to watch them. Interesting behaviors, and beneficial for sure. These eat bugs like it's going out of style. I'm obviously partial to certain animals, and this is one of them. Now I'm going to show you a turtle that I've had. Well, let me show it to you. Here is, this one is known affectionately as the big guy, because it's the biggest box turtle I've ever seen in my life. And I used to work on these a little bit. So this is a box turtle that was collected off the highway 57 years ago as an adult. So you think the terrapin's impressive. Here's a species that we know can live 100 years. So next time you see a box turtle crossing the road, help it across. Okay, let's look at a snake. No, this will be great. You guys will love it. Okay, anybody remember a myth associated with this snake? Anybody ever heard of a coach whip snake? You ever heard of a whip snake? Okay, so this is a coach whip snake. Now this is one of the great myths ever of snakes. In fact, we're doing a show for Coastal Kingdom right now. I'll tell you about that in just a minute, on myths, animal myths. And this is an animal that supposedly used to chase people down and then whip them to death with their whip-like tail. And I've even heard people say that they would take the tip of their tail and stick it up your nose to see if you're breathing. Not true. This is probably 5 feet. Yeah, probably 5 feet. Let's see. But these get 7 feet. They get really big. They're in this area? They are. I'll tell you where you see them is on the beach at Hilton Head. Every now and then you'll see them kind of up in the dunes. Okay, they don't whip people to death with their tails. They do eat birds, lizards, and things that they can run down. This is our fastest snake, and they cannot outrun any of us in here. They just don't go that fast. So these stories of people being raced, snakes chasing people down, just are not true. So that's something you just don't have to worry about. They are a beneficial snake. They do bite sometimes, so you got to be careful if you pick one up, but I don't think too many people are going to want to do that for sure. No. In fact, that's one of the points I wanted to make with all this. The majority of the snakes you see are non-venomous. Garter snakes, green snakes, things like that. Whereas rat snakes, those are all completely harmless. Now, you do have copperheads. So they're here. I've seen them dead on the road, and they're actually fairly common in all of Beaufort County. So that's one you got to know. Can you guys tell I love snakes? And I've worked with snakes much of my life. This is a little bigger, but it's not too big. This is a king snake. Okay, and I'm going to be a little wary of this one because I've been handling other snakes, and they eat snakes. That's their favorite food. In fact, this is a snake that can kill and eat a venomous snake. It can eat a copperhead. They love copperheads. But they'll also eat a garter snake. They'll eat turtle eggs. They'll eat just about anything they run across, like that. But this is one that you can really get a lot of support for, right? People don't generally love snakes, but here's one that hunts and kills venomous snakes like copperheads. So people tend to like these. Now, I have been doing a project for a while now where I'm hatching out baby king snakes and then I'm letting them go. Now the question is, how do you keep track of a baby king snake? So it's 11 grams, it's only about this long, and so you let it go, but you want to be able to find it, know who it is. So how do you keep track of it? Anybody have any ideas? You can paint it, but they shed it off. So that generally doesn't work. Let me show you. You can take really good pictures of the head and neck. And so that's what I've been doing. I have 500 released king snakes, lots of recaptures. And so what I'm able to do is use this like a fingerprint. And I'm working on some AI software that will allow me to, just kind of spin through them so I know who I have. But now what I have to do is just sit at a computer screen and hold a snake in my hand and see which one it is. So we need to work on that. I had some interns this summer that were doing it. But I think this is absolutely fascinating. And we're just trying to demonstrate that these snakes, if you release them in good habitat, that they will live and survive. Be really, really careful. So baby alligators, yeah, if you're fishing somewhere and you see a group of baby alligators, you want to just back away from it for sure. How many will you have? It depends. The average is about 44 eggs, and typically about 30 or so hatch. I've seen nests as much as 80 eggs and as few as 20. So it depends on the size of the female, how much food she gets in a year and things like that. How many live out of that? Well, probably the overwhelming majority die. I would say 1 in 100 lives if we're lucky. Okay, there's a bigger alligator, and so this is one of my colleagues, Thomas Rainwater, on the right. I'm on the left. This animal, we know this animal's been caught multiple times. It's an 8-foot 9-inch female, so not a huge alligator, but a big female. Females are typically under 8 feet. And this is one that we caught, and we you guys will be amazed at this. We stomach flushed it. So one of the things we're doing is one of our colleagues, Miriam Boucher, who's not in the picture, uses an apparatus that she designed and was tested by Clemson engineers, and she can actually open the mouth, and then we can irrigate the stomach, and the stomach contents come out, and she's looking for PFAS chemicals and also microplastics and things like that. Alligators are top of the food chain. So what they biomagnify or bioaccumulate a lot of things. So if you look at the contaminants that these big alligators have, you can get a pretty good idea of what's going on in the food chain. So I want to talk real quick, just a pitch for Coastal Kingdom. So about 15 years ago, the guy on the right there, Rob Lewis, and I started doing a TV show for South Carolina ETV. We actually started it on the county channel. And to date, we've done, I think, 55 TV programs. And the whole idea of this program is to get people excited about where they live right here. So we're not trying to make any money. We're not selling anything. We're not killing anything or anything like that. We're just trying to help people to realize what we have here. And we figure if people realize what they have, they can do the best possible job of taking care of it. And so what I've got here is a clip for you. I'm hoping this is going to work. And it's this one, we were out fishing for sharks for a shark program we did. And we came across something that was just kind of totally unacceptable. Whoa! That feels pretty good, whatever that is. I can feel the head shakes. So I think it's probably a shark. But, wow. Nice shark here. Looks like, I'm not really sure what this is yet. Wow, this is nice. Looks like a fine-toothed shark to me. Great big gill slits. You know, that's a 3-foot shark or something like that. A little tired dealing with the shark. Again, tough customers, and God, they're fabulous animals. Look at the shape. So when you talk about form and function, here's an animal that can move through the water just effortlessly. Very definitely one of the signature species we have here. And the reason we have it is because we have lots of clean water, lots of good bait for these guys to eat, and just great habitat. Hey guys, there's something really interesting right here. We can't tell what it is. It seems to be bobbing up and down a little bit. And whatever it is, it's big, and we're gotta go see what it is. We're gonna try and sneak up on it a little bit. I can't tell if it's a sea turtle or an alligator or what it is. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. Guys, we just figured out what this is. It's an armadillo. I mean, we are a mile from the shore, I think, and this armadillo is swimming. And I knew they could swim, but I had no idea they can swim like this. There he goes, he's taking off. I think what we may do is help this little guy out. See if I can maneuver this boat. God, he is really, really strong. They are unbelievable. Wow. Look at this arm. Now you gotta be careful of the claws because they're ridiculously sharp. So what we're gonna do is find some land, I guess, because he looks like he or she is laboring a little bit, and I just want to make sure that we get it to safety. So guys, we got it in a bucket, and I don't know his head sticking straight up. So this is going to be interesting to say the least. I think what I'm going to do, there we go, is what we have to do is put this in. We don't want to get stuck. And so I think what I'm gonna do is just put it right on the edge here, and he'll swim right over to the edge. And here we go. And there he goes. So guys, we got it in a bucket, and I don't know his head sticking straight up. So this is gonna be interesting to say the least. I think what I'm gonna do, there we go, is what we have to do is put this in. We don't want to get stuck. And so I think what I'm gonna do is just put it right on the edge here, and he'll swim right over to the edge. And here we go. And there he goes. He's headed right back to shore. Oh my gosh. That is so cool. So he just went on that little shell island. He's got another little area of marsh. There he goes. He's kind of zipping across the marsh right there. He made it to dry land, and we didn't get stuck, which is even better. Well, that was unusual. That's something that's never happened to me while fishing. Rescued a few animals from time to time, but never an armadillo. So I better back up so we don't get stuck in the shallow water.
A special thank you to the Hampton Village neighborhood for giving us this opportunity to cover this event. And thank you to Tony Mills for an outstanding presentation. And also, I want to thank all of you for watching in our neighborhoods.